Hey, seventh graders, just wanted to make a quick video for our Wednesday, November the 18th and Thursday, November the 19th classes. This is actually a pretty cool class where we are going to actually compare the Black Death or bubonic plague to COVID-19 because we are going through a pandemic just like they did in Europe many, many years ago. So make sure you guys take your attendance, get that taken care of. And we have this presentation that I already have opened up right here. And let's go ahead and work through. There we go. So we're going to look at this question today. How does a country successfully handle a pandemic? All right. We're going to review readings from last class, and we're going to analyze some sources and complete some performance tasks that you will need to turn in for a grade. So again, today's lesson is how does a country effectively handle a pandemic? And we will gather relevant information from multiple sources while using original, authentic structure and context of sources to guide the selection to an answer compelling and supporting. This particular one will be a supporting question, and I can complete a cause and effect chart on how the pandemic impacts economy. So, quick review. Remember that we learned in our last class that in the 1300s, a disaster struck Europe. A horrible plague known as the Black Death swept across Europe and Asia. The first outbreak began in China in 1331. The Black Death appeared in Europe for the first time in 1346 at the city of Keffa on the Black Sea, which is a trading port. It's on the northern part of the Black Sea, and it is a major area that brought stuff from Asia into Europe. There are a lot of different estimates, but one of the estimates they came up with was about half the population, 50%, died during the Black Death or the pandemic. Trade and economy had declined, and wages increased because there were fewer workers, and so they were in much more demand. So this actually ends up bringing an end to the feudal system, or is one of the things that brought an end to the feudal system. Lords had to pay workers more and charge less for rent because of the fact they didn't have a whole lot of people. All these people had these homes. Rent went down, wages went up. It was actually good for the working class. The plague, like the Crusades, helped weaken the feudal system and changed European society. So you throw on this pandemic on top of the fact that we also had a Crusades that had just recently ended, and you see a big change in European society. So our dad joke of the day, this one's a really good one. Did you hear the joke about the germ? Never mind. I don't want to spread it around. So I think that's a really good one, and it's a perfect one for what we are doing today. So let's continue. So remember, this is our civic duty to wear our mask, right? So that's one of the things that we did benefit of today versus back in the 1300s is we have a little bit more science to help us get through this pandemic. So our guided questions. What did people do to prevent the spread of the bubonic plague? What are people doing now to prevent the spread of COVID-19? How did the two pandemics compare in regards to preventative measures? How did each pandemic impact the economy? So what did people do to prevent the spread of the pandemic or of the bubonic plague, and what did people do to stop the spread of COVID-19? Now, I'm not going to go through all of these different sources with you, but you do need to go through those to complete the assignments for today. So when you click on these, you guys will see it'll take you and it'll open you up to this modified primary source, which talks about some ways that they were able to try to control the bubonic plague or the Black Death. This is a good video from Dr. Fauci, who is a leading expert on pandemics, talking about COVID-19. And then this one is another source one. When you click on it, it opens it up and it talks about preventative guidelines that a lot of you guys are probably pretty familiar with from the CDC. So you just kind of work through here because you're going to need to know these not only for your activities today, but also for the activities for next week. All right. So read through those and have those up and available, because when you come to do your assignments for today, it'll help to already have access to these things, because then you can quickly look back. So I would leave those open just like I have there. So we're going to, this was a Jamboard task that we're not going to worry about for you all that are watching the video, where they just kind of broke down some of the preventative measures that, excuse me, that they learned from both those documents that I just showed you. So let's just go ahead and move on. So we do have a Venn diagram that you guys have in your modules, which I will show you in just a second. You need to complete the Venn diagram, comparing and contrasting the two pandemics, and answer the question, how did the two pandemics compare regarding the preventative measures? So let me go ahead and shut this down. So when we come into our module, you can see here's our module for Wednesday. Thursdays will just say Thursday, November the 19th, but this will be the same order. Come down here to where it says Venn diagram. And you're going to want to click on this Venn diagram. I'm going to read some directions, because there's a special thing you need to do. So you want to double click the circles. You want to type in the box here, and you will need to insert a text box. Click the save and repeat in the second circle. So I'll show you how that works. So you just click on the Venn diagram and it'll pull up the Google Doc. And what you will need to do to be able to interact with this Venn diagram, just give it a second and it will pull up. And I'll show you how to make sure you get stuff in the middle, because you know a Venn diagram overlaps. So I'll show you how to also do that. Let me move this out of the way. Oops, I didn't mean to make myself that big. Sorry, guys. Make that smaller. There we go. Move this up out of the way. So we have our Venn diagram. Here's all you need to do. Just come over here on the plague side, and what you will do is you'll just click. Now this will also have the overlap. If you can imagine, if the second one's here, you'd have some overlap. So here's what you're going to do. See where you just put your icon over this box with the T in it? It says text box. You just click on it, and all you have to do, you're not going to draw the text box into the whole circle, only part of it, because I'll show you why. So you're on the Black Death, so some preventative measures that they did. Remember, we read that you actually, let's see, had to bury dead bodies at least 24 to 26 inches deep. So that's one. And you would just list 2 or 3 there. Now, to be able to get to the center or the overlap part, you're going to need to put this, and you only need to do this in one of your 2. So I'm just going to do it in this first one. So things that they both shared. So these would be things that they have in common. So they put restrictions on travel, right? They did that. So I'm just gonna, I don't want to give them all. So I'm just going to put that one up there. I'm not going to worry about that. So then you hit close, save and close, and look to see what it does. It puts it in there. Now, you can go back if you wanted to add more. You can go back in and it'll leave it. See, it's already there. It's still there. So, and then you would come over here for COVID-19. You would do the same thing. This time you'd want to put the box more on the right side, because if you put it on the other side, it'll be in the overlap and it'll mess things up. So you just come here, and preventative methods would be like wash your hands, right? So, and then you guys need to add several of them in there. Don't just do one, but I'm just kind of showing you how this worked. So you can come in here, you can click, and you can add to it if you want. So that's how that is done. So that is your Venn diagram, and you're going to use these 2 documents, which are the preventative mandates that they put on those. So let's go ahead and get back into our presentation. All right. So move this back down. All right. So, all righty. our preventative methods. All right, so now we're going to talk about the economy, and this is the same thing. You just need to click on your sources. So this is our source for the impact that the plague had on our economy. You're just going to read through these. All right, they're not long. You can see that these are short sources, so it won't take you very long. We actually went through these in class, but since you were not in class, you're going to have to do it on your own. This is economic impact on COVID-19. All right, so you're going to read through that one as well. We also have one about unemployment. You can open that one up yourself. Then we're going to do a cause and effect activity where we're going to complete a cause and effect activity based on the economic sources from each pandemic. You're going to answer the question, how did each pandemic impact the economy? So we're going to shut down our presentation. We're going to go back into here, and you will see, let me go back into the actual modules. You come down here and you come into the cause and effect. All right, so cause and effect, you just click on it, and this will just be your normal Google Doc, and you need to take both these and you need to submit both of these because this will be a grade. All right, both of them are counted as your grade. So this will pull up. There'll be some directions probably in here. So it says read the different economic effects on a second sheet of paper. Match each effect with the appropriate pandemic. So you guys will actually see, you just get the copy and paste down here. So you're going to come down here. So labor demands are high. You're just going to highlight this, and you can, I like just to hit Control C, and you're going to come up here and, well, that's bubonic plague, right? So then you just hit Control V. So Control C copies, Control V paste, and you're just going to come through and you're just going to copy and paste these, and you're going to put them in the proper spot, okay, in the impact. And then you're going to have a little list of impacts, all right? And these will come up very handy, both of these charts, for what we're going to do next week, where we're going to develop a claim, and you're going to need to come up with 3 reasons to support your claim. Or you're going to have to come up in your claim, you're going to have 3 reasons in your claim, and then you're going to have to find evidence. This will help you identify that evidence when you're making your claim. So that's what we did today, guys. And again, if you came to class, we actually read through these things on our own and worked through a lot of this stuff on our own. But for those of you guys that did not come, you will need to do all this by yourself. You do need to submit both this one. For you guys, it'll be a little submit button. And then for the impacts, and then your Venn diagram, you also have a submit button. You need to submit this once you do it. Now, remember, for both of these, especially for this Venn diagram, I see that I gave you guys possibly a couple of answers. You need to have more than that. You probably need 3 or 4 different things from your readings, all right, to be able to, and remember, those are this reading right here. It's the preventative guidelines and the mandates. You're going to get those to fill out your Venn diagram. So if you have any questions, reach out to me or Miss Henry in the inbox in Canvas, and I will see you guys at the next class.